NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell took to the stand on Thursday in the ongoing NASCAR trial. He hopped on the stand late Thursday morning, continued into the afternoon session as well, and he talked about how much it cost NASCAR to do Chicago Street Race, LA Coliseum, Mexico, how that landed them the Amazon deal, plus his concerns with the SRX series. And we'll start there. O'Donnell's job as president is to keep an eye on any type of threat that could be coming towards NASCAR's business. O'Donnell is a company man. We learned that his salary is $1.2 million plus bonus. So yeah, he's a company man by all accounts there, especially when you're making that much money. And he was concerned with SRX. Originally, was not concerned with it. That's why they allowed Tony Stewart to start it up, because remember, at the time, Stewart did own charters in the NASCAR Cup Series. And it wasn't ever supposed to be like NASCAR. But then in year 2 and year 3, that's when O'Donnell started to get concerned about it looking more and more like NASCAR, because they were taking active NASCAR Cup Series drivers. They're going to some other tracks that maybe NASCAR was exploring going to as well. And then that's why he said that, maybe they should have legal take a look at it. Now, Shannon McMenemy, who is on the Teardown podcast recapping from the legal standpoint, phenomenal job by her and Gluck and Bianchi, and that definitely give them a listen in their daily recaps after these wrap up each night. But she said that this basically falls underneath trade dress. Essentially, you can't copy a product to the point where the consumer is confused by what's the original and what's the dupe here. And I would argue that most people, race fans, could tell you the difference between NASCAR and SRX at this point, but it was certainly concern for them. Again, I still contend that SRX was never a real threat to them, but I get maybe what the thought process was here. Then they talked about racetracks and how the expenses are for doing the Chicago Street Race. NASCAR lost $55 million over the 3 years that they did Chicago, but that landed them the Amazon Prime streaming deal. So they basically spent $55 million in Chicago, $6 million to do Mexico, and made $1 billion off of it, because that's what the media rights deal was. They spent $10 to $12 million over 3 years to do the LA Coliseum, which honestly feels cheaper than what I expected that to be. They've spent $6 million to do Mexico, or lost $6 million to do Mexico. That includes $60,000 worth of upgrades they had to do the facility to get it ready for NASCAR as well there. And Steve said that if the teams had the right to veto things, the 3 strikes rule that they got rid of in the charter agreement, they would have struck down going to Mexico, but NASCAR thought that they needed to go to Mexico for the media rights deal. So some interesting stuff came out of that. And then we also have Steve saying that Jim France was not swearing while he was reading the Heather Gibbs letter, that infamous letter now where the report was that every other word, seemingly Jim France was swearing. Steve said that he was not swearing. It was just a figure of speech. So take for that what you will.